In this video, I'm going to talk about how I went from Little League to the pros. So let's get started. I'm going to explain my path from T-ball all the way to the MLB draft. This video should give you a good idea of the path that it should take you to become a prospect in college and ultimately to realize your dream of landing a draft pick in the MLB draft. So my baseball journey really started around 4 years old when I was in T-ball. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and I really grew up playing the first couple of years of baseball in Maryland. And then my family moved down to Sarasota, Florida right before kindergarten, so I kind of got to see baseball on both sides, up north and down south in Florida. So this was a picture of Little League when I was in Sarasota, Florida at Twin Lakes. If you guys are familiar with that, it's where the minor leaguers for the Baltimore Orioles, that's where they have their spring training as well as their Florida complex league. So I started playing travel ball around 9 or 10 years old. Travel ball back in my day was a little bit different of what travel ball is today. Obviously, travel ball today is like national. You're traveling across the country for whatever reason. Travel ball for me was really regional. It was maybe an hour most of travel when I was, 9, 10, 11 years old. So I actually quit baseball for a moment of my baseball path at around 11 years old because I truly wanted to pursue skateboarding. Yes, I wanted to become a skateboarder when I was a kid, and I wasn't always serious about baseball, obviously. So this honestly happened because I had a really bad experience with a coach, and it almost sucked the life out of me and the passion that I had for this beautiful game. So I actually really wanted to be Ryan Sheckler. He had an MTV show called Life of Ryan that I was obsessed with, and I thought, he made it look so easy and effortless. Obviously, he's been doing it for his entire life, but I wanted to be him. But I quickly realized I missed baseball, and this was the Severna Park Green Hornets. This was actually a tryout that I attended for this team, and that's when I started to realize how much fun baseball can be. I had a really good tryout, I hit the ball extremely well, and everyone was my friend. And it wasn't competitive like it was when I was down in Sarasota, Florida. My family was moving back and forth a ton throughout my middle school years, so this was around like 7th grade, I believe, 6th or 7th grade, where I realized that fun factor that could be had in the game of baseball. And I had this passion and really just kept working throughout that travel ball era, and that really helped me earn a spot on varsity as a freshman up north at Severna Park High School. So that was really cool, and this was a point where I feel like a lot of players need guidance. Let's be honest. You're either on JV, you're either on freshman team, you're either on varsity, and there's definitely going to be some mistakes that you make throughout your baseball journey in this stage. Right? This is the time where I felt the most helpless. I felt like I just needed that guidance. I needed to understand where to look to get the work in. I understood that the upperclassmen, they even had their own gym that they would attend, and it was kind of like restricted. I remember trying to go there one time, and it was in Severna Park, Maryland, and I remember being told like, hey, get out. This is only for varsity baseball players. So I remember feeling like, who should I trust? Where should I go to get the guidance, to get the instruction, to understand what to do in the gym? And it was really hard. So this is a weird time for probably you, if you're listening to this, if you're like a freshman or sophomore, maybe those early years of playing high school baseball, you don't understand, where to go. So although I was on varsity as a freshman, I did have struggles, guys. I had a really good season. I was a two-way. I was a shortstop and a pitcher my freshman year, but hitting wasn't anything crazy. Let's be honest. I was a contact hitter, hit a lot of singles, and I actually got the start. So I was mostly known as a pitcher. I was pretty consistent through strikes. Wasn't a huge velocity guy my freshman year. I was like 5'8", maybe 140 pounds, so I wasn't big at all. And I got to start the state championship game. And to be honest with you guys, I got lit up. So I quickly learned how to keep my head up and maintain that confidence that I had throughout my entire season. And I felt terrible because I felt like I let my entire team down in that state championship game. My family moved from Maryland to Sarasota, Florida after my freshman year of high school. Really, it was just finances, guys. My family wasn't too well off growing up, and we couldn't afford the Severna Park School District housing market. So we moved down to Sarasota, Florida, and I went to Sarasota High School, a very good baseball program. And I valued having a good work ethic, honestly. I started grinding in the weight room. I quickly realized also up north baseball is not the same as down south. Sarasota High School is a very traditional baseball program that produces really good talent year after year. So I got to work. No matter what the conditions were, like it didn't matter, like as you can see right here, it didn't even matter if no one wanted to throw with me. I wanted to make sure that I was getting my work in. And sometimes I would literally go to our team cages, which are outside, and I would conduct a throwing program with myself where I would be throwing inside the cage, doing pull downs, doing long toss in a 60-foot cage, right? That kind of sounds ludicrous, right? But that's what I did to make sure that I was getting my work in. So I started going to showcases in the summertime before my junior year, and I drew, some attention being a pitcher. But but during BP, I would just hit line drives off the L screen. Let's be honest with you guys. I was not a power hitter whatsoever, and I hear that as a very common frustration from parents, players, and even some coaches talking about their players. Like it is very, very challenging to be a great power hitter at the high school level. It's just a tool that not many people develop. So I only hit singles, and I started playing with FTB with players like Bo Bichette, Ryan Mountcastle, and I was really a pitcher, a PO. This was one of the very few times that I was a PO, but I did get my few chances in the middle infield. I remember we had also Nick Gordon in the middle infield, and he was a top-ranked draft pick, and got a lot of buzz around his name as well. So after my junior year of high school, I did have some offers from like the Naval Academy, but I knew I didn't want to serve in the Navy after college. I wanted to play professional baseball, so I wanted to pursue something bigger. So really the summer before my senior year, I pitched really well at a WWBA perfect game event in East Cobb, Georgia. And I had a great outing. I think I threw like a 70-pitch complete game. I topped out at 90, and the NC State coach was there to be able to watch me on the mound. So after that, I got offers from basically my top 3 schools: NC State, UVA, Virginia, and Rice out of Houston, Texas. So a lot of other Power Fives were interested in me, including Florida State, but I knew I didn't want to go there because they didn't fit my criteria of offering aerospace engineering, which is what I studied at NC State. So the recruiting process is not always this easy, and a lot of times you will have to, start having conversations with particular schools or maybe showcases or camps that you want to attend. My program will give you the best tools to help not only your skills, but also your better understanding of where to go, and the guidance is required to go through this recruitment process. It's not really talked about for whatever reasons. So go ahead and take a look at the link down in the description if you're listening to this on YouTube. If not, if you're listening to this on podcast, just head over to Mendozabaseballacademy.com. You'll get a ton of value, a ton of understanding of what's going on. So I showed up to NC State as a pitcher. I got that scholarship, and I was there as a two-way though. I got that scholarship mostly as a pitcher though. Freshman year, I had one good start followed by a couple of poor outings, guys. I was the Saturday starter, and right after that, I did terrible. So I got moved to the bullpen, which wasn't fun. And one day, I almost collided with our star center fielder and during BP. So basically, they said, "Hey, Mendy, come take grounders, get out of everyone's way." So I kind of gave up on pitching for a while because I reignited that passion that I had for being a position player. So I'd even catch bullpens just to stay active. I have this very active spirit. I want to be doing something all the time. So I would warm up relievers during the games because I wasn't really playing that much. And I got only a couple of at-bats my freshman year. I was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, right? My freshman year of college. All right, so I was mostly known as a pitcher. And if you guys are liking this video or this podcast, go ahead and take a screenshot on whatever platform you're listening to it on, and make sure to head over to Instagram, put it up on your story, and tag at Mendoza Baseball Academy on Instagram. I'll be able to repost all of them. All right, guys? So now let's get back into it. This brings me to one of the most underrated parts of making you successful high school or college baseball player is honestly the idea of being adaptable. Not many people are adaptable in this game of baseball. So if a coach sees that maybe you can help the team at a different position, instead of taking that personally, take it professionally and understand that there's a bigger picture involved. So this might lead to you getting more opportunities, playing with playing time. Come on, guys. So after my freshman year, I went to the Cal Ripken League, which is in Northern Virginia and Maryland. I got to stay with my grandma, and I only had like a 15-minute drive, but we also didn't have team buses, so we were required to do all the traveling during DC traffic, during rush hour. And honestly, guys, this is where I knew I was in love with this game of baseball, because not your typical person would be driving 2 hours willingly every 3 or 4 days throughout the week just to play some baseball games, and sometimes they'd even get rained out, right? So this was up in Maryland. This was an opportunity ultimately for me to be able to get high-level reps in the infield. So this set me up for having the sophomore year that I did, along with some other factors, right? So in the fall, I'd spent hours in my facility at NC State working, making sure that I'm getting work in. And ultimately, I had this big question, right? Which am I going to prioritize, baseball or having a social life? Let's be honest, guys, in college, there's so many distractions out there. There's drinking, there's partying, there's friends, everyone's doing their own thing, right? But for me, I knew the reason that I wanted to go to college was to play baseball and to get drafted. So I always chose baseball, and seeing how close I was to really my lifelong dream of getting drafted, why would I waste my time not improving on the game that I love? So when the season came along, I balled out. Started almost every single day. I was not the starting third baseman my sophomore year opening day, but probably like 1 or 2 weeks into the season, I was given an opportunity and I balled out. I went 3 for 4 with a couple of RBIs, and I made the most of the opportunity. So I should note that I was able to make the most of my opportunities because I had the confidence in myself due to the hard work that I put in, right? Confidence is a byproduct of the hard work and the preparation that you do. So I've witnessed a fair share of my teammates, not being able to handle the pressures of given that opportunity, right? Maybe they haven't been preparing as much. Maybe they're partying too much, right? Let's be honest, guys. So the mental struggles are a real thing. And if you can't just have the confidence to know you're good enough, you're already going to be more successful. You just have to have that confidence deep rooted inside you. So after my sophomore year of college, I had that successful year where I hit 362. I was second team all ACC, and I got invited to play in the Cape Cod League with the Bourne Braves. So that was an unbelievable summer. There is where a ton of pro scouts flock to, right? To witness, all these soon to be pro players that are in college. And I got to face a ton of solid pitchers, again, using wood bats. I remember Brady Singer, he was nasty at the time. So it was a dream come true to play in this league where the atmosphere is unmatched as far as all collegiate baseball leagues in the summertime. This is the top, right? If you're not playing for your Team USA, this is #1. So I got back to school the fall semester of my junior year, and I basically put my head down and continued this work ethic. And I even worked the same way that I worked the year before, just put my head down, working when everyone else was truly sleeping. So that season, I hit 362 my sophomore year and had a couple of ESPN top 10 plays, which was awesome. And this was really, that sophomore year was the reason why I was able to get drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 11th round. So one of the main takeaways is that it's never too late to make a name for yourself, guys. Come on, guys. I literally hit my first ever big field home run my sophomore year of college, all right? So hopefully you understand my path to getting drafted was not easy by any means. So from Little League to the pros, everyone's journey is completely different. So I was considerably an unknown travel ball player until the summer right before my senior year of high school. So you could argue that it just took one outing for me to be able to land a college scholarship to go play baseball in the ACC Division I at NC State. So, and even that, my career was almost done after my freshman year of college, let's be honest, guys. But I decided that I wanted to be a position player, and everything changed, right? It wasn't just I woke up one day and I just said, hey, I'm going to continue being a pitcher. I'm going to continue with the failure. No, I made a name for myself by the preparation that I put in. So take a chance when you're young, have fun, and honestly just trust the process. The process isn't going to be super obvious. So if you want me to help you or your athlete play at the next level, this is that QR code. I'm very specific on who I want to work with, guys. So I want to work with serious baseball players who are currently in 8th grade or higher. So I know it's the summertime right now, so you must be currently in 8th grade, or I think the youngest is you have to be a rising freshman currently, all right? So if you're playing travel ball, that's perfect. That's exactly who I want to work with. I want to work with people who want to play in college, who have a drive to get better, who have the dedication to this game of baseball, and who are already doing stuff to get better. And, honestly, you have to be investing in yourself. And that looks like eating well, drinking well, making sure you're hydrating, putting good effort in the gym. That's investing in yourself. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and scan this QR code to the right. If that sounds like you and you want to play baseball at the next level and become the best player on your team. But just a heads up, I do not like working with complainers, guys. That's not fun. I don't enjoy it. Players who don't have time to get better, that's not who I want to work with. And ultimately, like lazy players. and players and families who are constantly late to things. That's no bueno for me. So if that sounds like you, do not even bother applying. Do not scan this QR code, and do not click the link down in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. So don't waste your time, and please, I ask you guys, do not waste my time. But if you are serious about your athletes or maybe your development, you already know what to do.